Well, a little bird told me that it is my ex-wife's birthday. She took all of that alimony money and bought herself a diamond ring, and now she wants me to replace it because it fell out of the setting. So I've got to go get that put back into the ring. It's a reminder that diamonds are forever, but the marriage ain't. No, it's one of those things, just like the song goes. Stephen Sondheim died. I loved his song, Send in the Clowns. That's the one that I love. That's isn't it rich? And isn't it real? It's done, Send in the Clowns. Great song, He's done a lot of songs. But he was 95 years old and he passed away. And Mel Brooks is still here with us. Mel just finished a book, which is called It's All About Me. Annie Bancroft was his wife. Should write the sequel to it, which is It's Always Been About You, Mel. Yeah, that's the way women feel about men. Women are different than men. I don't know if anyone told you. This is a female bird, and she's on the hunt now. She's looking for a parrot. I pick on someone your own size. That's what I think. So I like the fact that we had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Everybody got together, no masks because everybody had the vaccine. And we all enjoyed well, I'm a vegetarian, not because I love animals. I hate vegetables. That's why. And, we have a different kind of a society right now. I mean, people are naming everything. If Walt Disney, who was put to sleep in the cryogenics frozen state, if he were to come back, he would have to learn these new words thinking they were titles of his movies, like Omicron. Is that what it is, Amaron? Or Meta, the Facebook new name. Where are all these names coming from, these people? And the Spirit Airlines, they're in trouble because they got some sort of that airline charges for everything. You know that already. You can't even use the bathroom without paying to go to the bathroom, so to speak. But they charge for the bag and the extra luggage and the room on the seats for your knees and the front of the plane, the back of the plane. They have all these rules, and they now have something that is probably going to be put into place this week, and that is since the airline steward got hit or slapped, I think it was, not shot. That would be really bad. But the thing that they need to do now is to have you buy insurance before you get on the plane. Yeah, you got to get that great policy for Morgan & Morgan. That injury policy for, just in case you get pissed off at the help, and you want to slap them around. It's going to cost you. And Spirit Airlines, they probably have that in place already as a built-in fee. I noticed also, I did my show from Times Square on NBC Digital, which is now Peacock Network, and I did my show every night, 10 to midnight, when it was not noticed too much. And in that case, we had Times Square, and we were the only place in Times Square. I told the people at NBC, I said, I don't want to do the show from Rockefeller Center, mainly because Rockefeller Center is for tourists. It's people who come from Switzerland and Germany, and I learned that when I was on NBC Radio in the afternoon. I'd go out with my microphone, and I could not find anybody from the tri-state area because they all were foreigners. That's who came there, except for the lighting of the tree. Maybe you'd bring someone from New York or Jersey would come in for that. And the Friday morning thing on the Today Show when they have one of your favorite rock and roll artists. Now the Good Morning America is doing that in Times Square. They're trying to do the same thing the Today Show did because they're out of material. So they have rock and roll artists and people who are very interesting. I'd like to see, for instance, Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga doing a hip hop. That would be an interesting feat, wouldn't it? So anyway, back to this. They're broadcasting from Times Square, and they say Good Morning America from Times Square. And they have a barcode now so that people who are visiting could scan, and if you scan it and win, you will get yourself a swag bag, which is a bunch of stuff, a stuff bag. And I was thinking, we used to do that in radio to get an audience. We had contests. That's how you got an audience. People didn't like to listen to the radio. They wanted to win a T-shirt or whatever dollars you were giving away on the morning show, so you would be enticed to stay tuned and have that great quarter hour that everybody is used to, having that 15 minutes. If you can get a listener or a viewer for 15 minutes, then you win the hour, they say. I don't know why that all counts, but that's the way people are. And, you know, in the business, radio and television business, so it's a strange culture. Cult is good explanation. So now Good Morning America's got that little barcode. We have that in church on the back of the seats. We have a barcode in the church. Just in case you forgot to put money in the envelope, you can barcode it now. Our church is very progressive. You know, I don't know if you know this or not, but we are in the churches now, because people are afraid to touch each other and wear masks and all this stuff. They serve the communion in a container. Did you know that? Look at, I mean, I don't know if you've seen this or not. If you've been, maybe the Jewish church doesn't do this, but they have the communion on top. You take the communion on the top of the thing here. It's a package, see, you know, probably made in China. There's the communion, and here's the wine, or what would be in the Christian churches. They don't use wine. The Catholic Church uses wine. That's why you have a lot of a different. You know, there's nothing worse than a drunken nun. So this is communion. We have communion, right? How about that for a? I'm not supposed to chew it. So that's communion. That's the relationship that you have, that you make a commitment with in a community. That's not blessed. That's me. I can't bless anything. I just have the props. That's all. But that's the way they're serving communion right now. Isn't that interesting? How everything is packaged and planned, and nobody wants to answer the phones anymore. They have everything recorded. You call someone, and you want to complain. You're just talking to the wind, unless it's a suicide hotline, and you probably get a busy signal there anyway. But you know, you can't get anybody to talk on the phone anymore. Even Amazon, they don't want to talk. I tried to order something, and then I tried to stop the order, and boy, I was on the computer for half an hour, just to quit, you know. And I had to look up the phone number. They don't have a phone number. Nobody wants to talk. They don't want to talk. Everybody wants to text. So I don't know how they have talk shows with phones. Nobody's on them. What are you going to do with the phone? They ought to really now have this text across the screen on your phone from the radio station. They're probably going to do that. And anything that is contemporary, you know, there's two words, con and temporary, because the whole world is evolving, and it's always temporary. Everything's temporary. Life is temporary. You know that. There's just no end date given. But I know what I'm going to have on my tombstone. I know what's written there. Freddie Clestine, my friend in Buffalo, said, you ought to have written, nobody liked him but the people, because I used to defy all the management. You know, they called me a management nightmare, because I was unmanageable. And they wanted to hire me because they wanted me to get the audience, because the audience loved me, but the management team had a hard time with me. I didn't ever follow their rules. You know, they gave you the records to play. I never wanted to play their records. I wasn't taking payola anyway. So what's the difference? I was an honest guy, and I like to stay in touch with the people. I would go to my dances. I'd bring people into the studio, which you weren't supposed to do. You know, all these days everything's legal and figured out. It's all prescribed. That's why it's boring. You know, I mean, who cares about the same 300 records over and over and over again? But that's what we do. You know, we want to have that fond memory. Now, if you want to hear those records, you got to watch commercials on television, because that's where all the money is. So they pay the publishing for it. And the artists never used to get paid for singing a song on the radio. The records that were played, the money never went to the artist. It went to the publishing company who wrote the song. If the artist wrote the song, he or she would get the money. It would go then to the people who were owning the publishing company and the record company. But the record company would pay for all the recording sessions, and the artist would make money off of the record company by signing a deal, and also by going out and making appearances, which the record company didn't touch. And the publishing company got a little bit of a taste, because every time someone performed something, there was a fee involved, even in jukeboxes. You know, you had to pay to have a jukebox in your bar and your tavern, you know. I don't know if you know that or not, but there's a lot of money that's not under the table, but it's just figured out by certain people, and it's not talked about. And it's like the government. You know, the government doesn't tell you all the things they're doing because people can't know everything, and they are the opinion that you shouldn't know everything. And then there's those who think that you should know that the government knows nothing and shouldn't have anything to say. Well, if that's the case, you wouldn't have the garbage picked up. I mean, you know, they got to do something. You're paying them for something. What are you paying the government for? And they get mad because the variant is hitting us, and we're going to get a free vaccine now, another booster on the way. But I said, I'm not paying for it. And then someone said, well, yeah, you're paying the taxes. I said, yeah, but I'm not paying the taxes on directly. The bird is chewing on my wire here. The bird's had enough of me. She says, okay. She's cutting me off. I'm cut off from Birdland. So we have a lot to talk about on this show. I'm not on the regular radio and television. I mean, just a guy with a phone, that's all, sitting in my backyard. How about that for a show? And if you want to watch me in my best, you know, where we're all gussied up, then go to Sunday Night Live. Go to YouTube and punch up Sunday Night Live, and you'll see all the shows we did on KABC, WABC, iHeart. They're a radio and television combination, the first triple cast of radio, TV, and the internet all together, just by going to Sunday Night Live. I think you can go to sundaynightlive.com too, I'm not sure, or my website. But you know, the fact of the matter is that that you can watch these shows, and I only had guests on for 5 minutes, not because the attention span was short, but because we wanted to have an interesting show, and it keeps moving along. See, now everybody's doing that. They weren't doing that before. Someone would come out on David Letterman's show, for instance, and sit there for a whole segment. I didn't do that. We did 5 minutes. You know, I had, I think, Gene Cornish from the Rascals and Tommy James, two of the great oldies but goodies, and they were playing guitar and singing and making up the song live in the studio, and they were only on for about 5 minutes. See, I never wanted to overdo it. So that's where that show is if you want to watch it. It really should be what we're doing right now, should be what is on television on the mainstream. They don't know how to do it. They've turned into the home shopping channel and a cooking network. That's what they've done. They've turned all these channels into that and complain, my goodness. I was going to say my God, but there's atheists present, and I've had communion. So, you know, we have a society now that is really all about crime. There we go now. That's the police helicopter. Surveillance. No, it's all about crime. So what are they doing? Here's what they're doing. They're reading the police blotter, and they're putting that on as a newscast. So it shouldn't be called the evening news. It should be called the evening police blotter. And they should go in there and take the news off the police blotter and see who's committed what crime and put that on television. That's what they do. So all these things, and there's unsolved cases. Oh, come on. They've been solved by liars. See, lying is an art. People lie, and then the worst part is when they lie about lying. That's another layer of it. That's what happens in the government. You know, first they tell a lie, and then they lie about it. Okay. It's maddening. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. Send in the clowns, like I said. The bird's trying to cut me off. All right, my time is up. It's a Reynolds wrap.